Well, during today's news conference, nationally known attorney Ben Crump of Florida said all charges against local protesters should be dropped as well. For months, those protesters, peaceful protesters, as he said, have continued to say Breonna Taylor's name in their demands for justice. The Night Team's Jesse Cohen's been talking with some of them tonight and looking ahead to a decision from the Attorney General. Jesse's joining us live from Jefferson Square, where, Jesse, over the last several months, you've covered many protests.
I have been out here, Doug, for weeks on end, and like you said, like Ben Crump said today, a lot of those changes came because people have stayed here in Jefferson Square Park. They have come out marching on the streets, and they have continued to demand justice. Now, one thing they weren't expecting was that settlement that came today, but they have been expecting an announcement from Attorney General Daniel Cameron, and they say their promise to not leave here at Jefferson Square Park has certainly not changed with that settlement.
As significant as today is, it's only the beginning of getting full justice for Breonna.
111 days since the first protest in downtown Louisville, and protesters are left with the same reaction after the settlement deal. Their fight for justice has just begun.
We far from done.
I've never seen nothing like this in my life.
And I think this just gave everybody a lot of momentum.
By no means is this money going to stop us from speaking out or stop us from holding folks in power accountable.
In the days leading up to a possible decision out of the Attorney General Daniel Cameron's office, these activists say the civil suit is completely separate from criminal charges.
And just because you give the family $12 million doesn't mean that the rest of us don't have something to still fight for.
It is absolutely essential that we continue this work so that all this has not been in vain.
It's also different from the systematic changes they are fighting for, to provide justice for Black people. And Breonna Taylor's life and death was the start of that.
But that was really the catalyst to where Black people are really going. It's just being a human.
It's not a moment, it's a movement.
You know, Kentucky right now, we're like a boiling pot, you know, and the lid is doing that. This is their attempt at softening the blow for the lack of justice that I think that they're going to serve.
Chanel Helm, the founder of Black Lives Matter Louisville, says we can't ask what's next because the current moment is still happening.
The question is, what is this city going to do about its failed leadership?
The eyes are on Louisville and what is going to happen.
We still don't have justice if the system doesn't change, because that means that if the system doesn't change.
Now, those people who you just heard from have been out here, like I said, for 111 days. They have been protesting in multiple different forms, whether it's marching the streets or helping legislation get passed and continuing to push for a better future. Now, like we've mentioned many times, there is no timeline on that decision from Daniel Cameron, but the protesters out here at Jefferson Square Park say one thing is for certain. They are preparing for protests regardless of whether charges are met for those 3 officers or whether there are no charges. Live in downtown Louisville, for the Night Team, I'm Jesse Cohen.